Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for number 15, 2022, the Who's to Blame edition. And we begin with that story from the New York Times Deal Book, who takes a look at the collapse of FTX and asks, who is to blame? Is it the former CEO, one Sam Bankman-Fried? Is it the fault of the regulators? Is it the investment community? Is it poor corporate governance? Or is it just plain fraud? I guess we'll find out. Next up, from Barron, a rare contributor to the Daily Compliance News, reports that a former advisor to the president of the Democratic Republic of the Congo went on trial Monday for alleged corruption in a case that erupted after the emergence of hidden camera footage. The official appeared in Kinshasa court accompanied by 8 lawyers to answer charges of passive corruption, influence peddling, and causing offense to the head of state. From the Wall Street Journal, Google reaches a $391 million settlement with states over location tracking practices. 40 state attorney generals announced the settlement. They found Google had violated state consumer protection laws by misleading customers about its location data practices, tracking consumers even when their location history setting was turned off. So you just have to wonder about these tech companies. They cannot seem to follow the basic requirements of the law, and unfortunately, Google's do no evil seems to have really fallen by the wayside. And our final story today comes to us from the Financial Times, as the board of directors at Tyson Foods has launched a review over its new CFO's arrest. It follows the news that he was charged this past month with public intoxication and trespassing after a woman found him asleep in her bed when she did not invite him there. The arrest came weeks after the promotion of the 32-year-old by the chairman of Tyson, of course, John Tyson. He's the son of the chairman and the great-grandson of the founder. This was over the objections of the board of directors. And you can only speculate as to what the board may want to have to investigate or need to have to investigate. Clearly, this person has a public intoxication problem, and by passing out in somebody else's house, you have to wonder about their judgment as well. Nevertheless, his father wanted him as CFO, so what Daddy wanted, Daddy got. And we'll see what the board says going forward. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.